This is going to blow your mind. Imagine a time when the world was a tapestry of kingdoms, empires, and faiths, each vying for power and dominance. The Crusades were a series of epic conflicts that spanned nearly 2 centuries, from 1096 to 1291, and they were driven by a potent mix of religious fervor, political ambition, and sheer human drama. The Crusades were more than just battles. They were a whirlwind of faith, ambition, and chaos. Picture knights in shining armor, vast armies marching across continents, and cities under siege. But beyond the battlefield, the Crusades were also about the clash of cultures, the exchange of ideas, and the reshaping of the medieval world. The Crusades, spanning from 1096 to 1291, were a series of religious wars initiated by Christians to reclaim the Holy Land from Muslim control. The Holy Land, particularly Jerusalem, held immense spiritual significance for Christians, Muslims, and Jews alike. For Christians, it was the site of Jesus Christ's crucifixion and resurrection, making it a focal point of pilgrimage and devotion. But what sparked this epic conflict? The roots of the Crusades can be traced back to the Byzantine Empire, which was under increasing pressure from Muslim forces. The Byzantine Emperor, Alexios I, found his empire's borders threatened and his resources stretched thin. Desperate for assistance, he turned to the west for help. It all began with Emperor Alexios III of the Byzantine Empire. Facing pressure from Muslim forces, he turned to Pope Urban II for help. The Pope saw an opportunity not only to aid a fellow Christian ruler, but also to assert the power of the papacy and unite the warring factions of Europe under a common cause. Facing pressure from Muslim forces, he turned to Pope Urban II for help. The Pope, recognizing the potential to strengthen the Church's influence and perhaps even reunite the eastern and western branches of Christianity, called for a holy war. This call to arms was made at the Council of Clermont in 1095. In 1095, at the Council of Clermont, Urban delivered a fiery speech urging European Christians to take up the cross. His words resonated deeply with the audience, promising not only spiritual salvation but also the adventure of a lifetime. The response was overwhelming, with thousands of knights, peasants, and nobles taking up the cross and setting out on the perilous journey to the Holy Land. The promise, spiritual salvation, and of course a bit of adventure and loot. For many, the Crusades offered a chance to escape the hardships of medieval life, seek fortune and gain honor. The idea of fighting for a holy cause added a sense of purpose and righteousness to their endeavors. The First Crusade saw the capture of Jerusalem in 1099. This victory was a monumental achievement for the Crusaders, who had endured immense hardships, including long marches, battles, and sieges. The capture of Jerusalem was marked by both jubilation and tragedy, as the city witnessed a brutal massacre of its inhabitants. The First Crusade saw the capture of Jerusalem in 1099. The Crusaders established several Crusader states in the Levant, including the Kingdom of Jerusalem, which became a focal point for subsequent Crusades. These states were constantly under threat from surrounding Muslim territories, leading to a series of military campaigns to defend and expand their holdings. Fast forward to the Third Crusade, where Richard the Lionheart clashed with the legendary Muslim leader Saladin. This crusade, which took place from 1189 to 1192, was one of the most famous and romanticized of all the Crusades. Richard and Saladin, both formidable leaders and warriors, became iconic figures in the history of the Crusades. Despite epic battles like the Siege of Antioch and the Battle of Arsuf, not all Crusades were successful. The Crusaders faced numerous challenges, including logistical difficulties, internal conflicts, and the formidable resistance of Muslim forces. The Siege of Antioch, for example, was a grueling and protracted battle that tested the endurance and resolve of the Crusaders. The Fourth Crusade even ended in the sacking of Constantinople, a Christian city. This event, which occurred in 1204, was a shocking and controversial episode in the history of the Crusades. Instead of reaching the Holy Land, the Crusaders turned their swords against fellow Christians, leading to the plundering and devastation of one of the greatest cities of the medieval world. Key figures like Godfrey of Bouillon, Saladin, and Richard the Lionheart became legends. Their deeds and exploits were celebrated in songs, stories, and chronicles, shaping the popular imagination for centuries to come. Godfrey of Bouillon, one of the leaders of the First Crusade, was hailed as a hero and became the first ruler of the Kingdom of Jerusalem. But the Crusades left a complex legacy. While they were initially launched with the aim of reclaiming the Holy Land, their impact extended far beyond the battlefield. The Crusades influenced the political, economic and cultural landscape of both Europe and the Middle East, leaving a lasting imprint on history. They deepened the divide between Christians and Muslims, reshaped European politics and even boosted trade with the Middle East. The Crusades opened up new trade routes and facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas and technologies between East and West. This period saw the introduction of new products such as spices, textiles and precious metals, which had a profound impact on European economies. The cultural exchanges that took place during the Crusades also had a significant impact on art, architecture and learning. The Crusaders encountered advanced Muslim civilizations, which influenced European culture in various ways. The transmission of knowledge, including scientific and medical advancements, enriched European intellectual life and contributed to the Renaissance. Today, the Crusades are remembered differently across cultures, influencing modern political and religious narratives. In the West, they are often seen as a series of heroic and tragic events, while in the Muslim world, they are remembered as a time of invasion and resistance. The legacy of the Crusades continues to shape contemporary discussions about religion, conflict and cultural identity. So, the next time you think of knights and castles, remember the Crusades, history's epic clash. These events were not just about battles and conquests, they were about the human spirit, the quest for meaning, and the enduring struggle for power and faith. The Crusades remind us of the complexities of history and the ways in which our past continues to influence our present.